Submerged behind all your facades is a stronger version of you. There is no damage. It can't be denied. It has nothing to do with your identity that life is hard. You've had to reject a lot of yourself in order to stay alive, and that's why. You never intended to change identities. It was safer to be silent than to be honest, as you just discovered. It was simpler to just smile than to explain. It was more efficient to shrink than to protect your soul all the time. However, if you sacrifice a part of who you are in order to gain acceptance, you inevitably make a cut. Also, those wounds aren't going away. They remain still. Under your shadow, they wait. The darkness is not an adversary. This is all you had to give up in order to fit in. It's not a sign that something is wrong with you if you experience intense emotions like anger, hunger, jealousy, intensity, heavenly unbounded profundity, and agony. It's like your shadow is trying to have its voice heard. Life becomes less painful when you stop avoiding it, when you focus on yourself and pay attention. Changes occur. It is you. Consider your own shadow to be the danger. However, failing to eat poses the greatest risk. The face mask you fastened so securely that you lost track of where it stopped and you started. Your performance became a jail because you put it on so frequently. However effective a mask may be, it cannot permanently bury the truth. Somehow, your shadow will always find a way to speak negatively about yourself. You fail to comprehend when I'm furious. As a person experiencing burnout, you tend to place the blame on other people. You refer to habits and addictions. When you're repressed, needs force you into partnerships that collapse. The world urged you to be gentle, to be calm, and to be light. However, having peace does not entail doing. Merging is the key to peace. Wholeness is the path to peace. Portions that declare, I refuse to amputate parts of my soul just to make you comfortable. You are not meant to live in fragments. You were meant to become indivisible. Let's begin with this. Psychoria, the holy insanity of self-criticism. Running away from your shadow won't make you more alert. Dancing with it, bringing it into the room, and declaring, I see you, you're part of it, are all ways to bring it to life. Euphoria isn't a breakdown. I've had enough of denying your existence. That's groundbreaking. It's the result of the mind refusing to continue dividing itself. When being genuine takes precedence over fitting in. When your inner fervor becomes uncontrollable. There is order here, the most basic kind of healing. Reason being, healing isn't a picnic. It causes disturbance. All your beliefs that told you to put more will be shattered by it. The persona you crafted for other people will be charred by it. Your authentic self emerges from the ashes. I don't. Refined, imperfect, yet potent. Mindset is not just about being optimistic. Perception is key. Darkness is evil, according to your conditioning. The truth, however, resides in the shadows. Whether you perceive your shadow as a hindrance or an ally, if you try to dull your suffering or find meaning in it, it depends on your frame of mind. You have a message for each ailment in your life. Reactions reflect reality. The soul rebels with every breakdown. Your entire life will be consumed with seeking approval from others if your thinking isn't designed to listen within. Validation. However, your costume, number of followers, or resume are irrelevant to the shadow. You should be prepared to be exposed. You are what it desires. Wholeness is its goal. Make a mental adjustment. Quit describing aspects of yourself as excessive. They're the key that unlocks the door to success. Your level of belief determines how well your conscious and unconscious minds communicate with one another. A large portion of the population clings to the self-image they can influence the most, the version that is well-received and conforms to expectations. What if, however, your strength lies in the items that aren't compatible? What if the item you've rejected actually contains your greater self? You need a solid set of beliefs that can hold all of your humanity. Everything about you, your light, your hunger, your darkness, and your contradictions is important. Because if you let your goodness be your only belief, you would freak out whenever your shadow side appears. But when you accept yourself exactly as you are, you no longer have to fight an internal battle. Clear vision emerges after the internal conflict has subsided. Quietness does not lead to clarity. It manifests itself in conflict. Find out who you are. All right? The next step is to examine your feelings of fear. Being fearless isn't what clarity is. Being able to sit with it without being overwhelmed is a key. Declaring, I see the monster and I'm no longer running. This is because the creature is not an enemy that must be vanquished. That's the part of you that quiet, twisted, and left behind. You were the one who refused to listen, therefore it grew loud. You hid in the depths of your mind and lost the key, so now it's terrible. Yet you will not succeed if you conceal the facts. Peace. Limits won't materialize if you suppress your anger. You can't pretend to be happy and expect someone to be close to you. Sometimes clarity isn't pretty, but it's freeing when you finally understand what's been nagging at you and can put an end to running and begin reclaiming. A vision encompasses more than just aspirations. It embodies your evolving self. No, your shadow will not shatter your aspirations. Its purpose is to hone it, remove deception, and verify the veracity of your creations. More than just a show of accomplishment. The illusion have the power to ensnare you in cages made of golden metal. The kind that fool everyone with their flawless exterior but really destroy your soul. However, clarity of vision is achieved by integrating one shadow. Getting away is no longer your goal. As an artist, you express yourself via your work. Creating something to be noticed is no longer your goal. Building is an integral part of your identity. At that point, vision takes on a magnetic quality. Then people will be able to see themselves reflected in your work. Why? Because real life isn't a perfect parade. They are loyal to what is genuine. Someone who fought their fears and emerged unscathed is the one they seek out. Your light is not where purpose resides. It survives the injury. Even the most powerful individuals on earth didn't try to hide from them. That was put to use by them. Transform it into a work of art, a calling, and even poetry. Find your mission by reflecting on what has broken you and asking yourself, how can I ensure that this never breaks someone else the same way? Then you will have found your purpose. As soon as you understand that your shadow is not anything to be ashamed of, it will arrive. It is your narrative. You and everyone else who hears that story presented honestly can heal. Stop awaiting your arrival in pristine condition. It was never intended for you to be perfect. Trueness was always meant for you. The pain of life doesn't magically disappear once you tune in to your shadow. Guidance is initiated. The thing that holds you in check is not discipline. It is what frees your authentic self from the prison of disorder. No one is willing to give up their independence, even if everyone desires it. And the price, is discipline, chosen, internal, sacred, and not imposed from beyond. What your shadow can't. Follow the established social hierarchy. Because it has risen, it must obey. The object follows the dictates of religion, conforms to reality. It will rebel if you disregard it. However, it turns into your most faithful companion if you show it respect through organization. Because it's not a problem when parts of you feel wild, impulsive, or too much. Power without direction is what they are. That authority is housed in discipline. Your brilliance will go awry if you don't. That same brilliance constructs kingdoms in the midst of addiction, rage, and aimlessness. Not at all. Commanding your specter. The key is to direct that energy toward what you do best, into your craft, and into the life you create for yourself. When you put your discipline first, your shadow will come to serve you, not kill you. The feeling of helplessness can be overcome by taking action. The voice in your head will tell you to hold off until everything is clear, until you feel better, until you're no longer afraid. The darkness, however, does not wait for you to be safe. Bravery is required. Being courageous also entails acting fearlessly, moving ahead, regardless of the shadow doesn't require you to be courageous, even when your history begs you not to, and even when your inner critic rears its ugly head. You must be willing for it to happen, ready to take action without assurance of affirmation, eager to construct without praise, and unfazed by the prospect of miscommunication. Simply put, taking action isn't limited to making a personal change. Showing the silenced aspects of yourself that they are valuable is the point. Walking around with your shadow makes a statement with every stride. I have ceased to be. I terrify people. From that point on, you're practically indestructible. A genuine expression of gratitude is when one can face their darkness and say, "Thank you." This expression should not be based on false beliefs or poisonous optimism, but on the recognition of reality. For in your anguish you found knowledge, and in your shame you found purpose. Your setbacks serve as unconscious linguistic lessons. No matter how painful your experience was, you may learn to appreciate the person it made you. You can't put a price on the pain you felt, but you can take back the passion it ignited. Being thankful does not mean I am well. It's a message that says I'm strong and secure with untouchable riches. Instead of being a haunting presence, it becomes a guiding light. A scar becomes an asset, and a hidden strength becomes apparent. Thankfulness like this is loud and clear, totally game-changing. It's the type that changes your outlook, your tone, and your fate. Because you regain control of your writing once you find gratitude in your story's worst moments. You are the only author of your own destiny. The ability to change and grow is a byproduct of accepting that who you are is not static. It changes throughout time, just a blank canvas. The colors you've been scared to use to paint are in your shadow. Your purpose is to evolve. In time, you will change beyond recognition. Holding on to your past self is a certain way to sabotage your future self. Embrace the challenge that comes from your shadow. The sense of security you developed through your ego will be challenged. Yet security does not equate to liberty. You're not weak if you can adapt. This level of intelligence is unparalleled. What this signifies is that you are experiencing internal tectonic shifts. Plus, rather than defiance aside, you mount them. If you truly understand that change is the lifeblood of the soul, then you can let go of your fear of it. Embrace your shadow self and transform into the tempest, rather than a helpless leaf. You transcend physical form and embody the essence of a shapeshifter. To be resilient is not to just recover quickly. The key is to emerge from the experience more resilient than before. Ignoring your shadow will not help you become more resilient. Confronting your humanity's rough edges and accepting that you are still here is how you construct it. Get up, keep breathing, and move forward cautiously. Your past lives on in your shadow. Your future is written by your resilience. You become stronger with each refusal to compromise your values in order to fit in. No one wants to hear the truth from you no matter how often you tell it. You grow more courageous. When you stare your humiliation in the face and declare, "You don't owe me anymore," you take back a little bit of your soul with each statement. Having resilience is not something you're born with. It is a way of life, a decision to prioritize completeness over perfection every day, as well as when society views a complete individual. Strolling around, it feels compelled to pay attention. There is no end to learning. The real start comes when you bring your shadow to life. There is no one-time use for the unconscious mind. It's an infinitely explorable universe. Learning from your shadow side ensures that you will never be short of insight. Now that you're paying attention, you can anticipate the patterns, triggers, and illusions that used to fool you. Observance is key when you encounter them now. You have learned to separate your past hurt from your present reality. It takes more than just amassing background data. It's like observing the transformation of your shadow, a test and a teacher all at once. Great thinkers of all time were more than that. Their metamorphosis was something they watched with curiosity. Beneath their own din, they could make out whispering. As a result, they too achieved greatness. Remaining modest is the key to your success, though. Sure, but only if you pay attention. If you comprehend, then only. Embrace your shadow to a greater extent as your knowledge grows. Knowing something without being conscious of one's own limitations leads to hubris. However, understanding the relationship between transformation into knowledge through integration Now, freedom, the real kind, not the one they sell you, freedom from the illusion of appearing and acting a certain way and achieving a certain level of success. What I mean is the liberation of the soul. That is, the kind that causes the most fear in those who refuse to face reality. The kind that doesn't just transform your life, it changes your presence. Being uncontrollable is a result of learning to listen to your shadow, since you've already let them see portions of yourself that they can't shame. Agreed upon. Rejection is not a tool they can use to control you. No one will have to save you once you stop rejecting yourself and embrace your shadow sides. You quit procrastinating. You give up trying to find meaning in the internal conflict by relying on other people. Your role as rescuer becomes clear to you. You craft the blueprint. This is the one for whom you have been searching. No villain ever emerged from the shadow. The untold narrative was this: an unresolved present, a sacred purpose for the fire that has been waiting. Additionally, in the event that you quit ignoring it, it stops resisting when you give it space, listen to its wisdom, and treat it with respect. As you speak, it becomes a part of you. It makes you a better decision maker. Your limits will be strengthened. It enhances your imaginative capacity. Your role shifts from mere survivor to builder and commander all of a sudden. From the inside out, you transform your world. Because once you accept your shadow self, you are immune to gaslighting. Once a person's heart is whole again, nothing can break them. Once a person has experienced complete healing, no one can hold them back from. Seize the day. Now you find yourself on the cusp of all that you were destined to become, poised at the edge of your past. This mask is melted. Deceit is fading away. The specter has stopped pounding on the door. There it is right before your eyes, with sorrow, strength, and hope in their eyes. Plus, it only poses a single query. Am I to be granted access? Why do you always paint myself as the antagonist? Would you kindly cease banishing the aspects of yourself that were never damaged, but unwanted? Even if it means being different, misunderstood, or feared, will you finally become whole? Since completeness isn't comfortable. However, it is liberty. It is the unwavering power that arises when one stops hiding and stops relying on a mask to feel worthy. You are not intended to exist in a dual personality. You were never meant to conform to their idealized portrayal of you. Every part of you, the dreamer and the destroyer, the holy and the sacred, was meant to burn with you. Pay attention. Pay close attention to the part of you that has been yelling in silence. It has been patiently waiting to become. To the darkness that has been fiercely protecting your brilliance. No, it loved you too much to disregard you, not because it despised you. Take off the disguise. War must cease. Sit back and let the darkness do its talking as you wait for the pain to subside. You won't find it easy. Rather, you'll feel complete, because you've come to embrace your whole self. Doing so makes you fully conscious, not only alive. A person who has mastered the art of walking in their shadow is both beautiful and terrifying. Just sitting next to you is no guarantee that they will support you. Their apparent support for you is no guarantee that they are praying for you behind closed doors. Even though they seem happy for you when you win, they may be secretly relieved when you lose. Be aware that not everyone in your vicinity is on your side. Most people avoid facing this reality because doing so would mean giving up on false notions of family, friends, and home, illusory notions that people hold on to because they have lost touch with what it really means to be at home. Envision experiencing. You seem to have conflated closeness with commitment. Nonetheless, proximity is meaningless. Because of the brightness, some people will be near you, but if the energy isn't right, they will curse the fire that created it. They enjoy being illuminated by your light till it surpasses their own shadow. Their attachment to you stems from their addiction to excess, not from any genuine belief in you. Love transforms into distance the instant limits are placed when no is asked for or when you ask for reciprocity. Note the impact of quiet. Stands in for partying. And now the hard part starts. Your trust in them was warranted. What you really wanted was for them to regress alongside you. Some people, though, can only connect with you while you're not yet fully yourself. The need for approval to develop ceases the moment you open your eyes. And loss is an inevitable part of growing. You miss your former self. Your role is something you mourn. You lament the delusion that being close meant being in a partnership. Allow me to explain. Being abandoned is not growth. Those who have abandoned you are exposed as you grow. They stop being loyal the second you stop being convenient for them. Their comfort level was high. Your decision to prioritize truth over tradition, alignment over attachment, and integrity over image has transformed you into someone they couldn't control or predict before. Whoever has finally met themselves will always be frightening to those who have never met themselves, and that is a danger to them. This is the starting point of xyphoria, that holy unease when all the masks come off and you are exposed. Unflinching, unwavering, alone. While being alone may feel lonely at first, the liberation that comes from finally being able to express yourself freely, unfettered by the opinions of others, is hard to put into words. You are no longer curled up to fit the dinette set. Those who provide presence rather than performance, honesty rather than flattery, and soul rather than noise should be invited to your table when you construct it. Initially, it can be lonely, but it's sincere. Truthfulness, however, can cure wounds that closeness could only numb. Everything becomes suspect to you. Now you know how. Perspective changes. You shift your focus from wondering why they did this to me to wondering why I continued to let happen. Why? Because changing your own thinking is far more powerful than changing the mindsets of other people. When you no longer require them, it also arrives. When you come to terms with the fact that you can mature beyond the people you love, you become a threat. However, your elevation is no longer explicable when viewed from a distance. Whatever it is, you personify it. Boundaries are no longer something you bargain for. You govern with gentleness, certainty, and sovereignty as you impose them. Wow, that's way of thinking. Nor inflexible, nor icy, but transparent. Relationships that can only endure because you were too afraid to end them no longer have your undivided attention. Your beliefs also change when your perspective does. Longevity is no longer seen as a measure of loyalty. After a while, you cease thinking that someone owes you your time simply because they were there before. Just because they never made the decision to shine doesn't mean you have to. Your inner story is rewritten when you believe. I am not obligated to remain modest in order to receive affection. I'm not obligated to justify my actions if peace, not performance, is my top priority, and I refuse to apologize for it. People won't get it, and they shouldn't, because your beliefs aren't based on their comfort anymore. Your loyalty isn't to the person you were, but to the person you are becoming, and that person won't tolerate environments that belittle your light simply because they're familiar. With new beliefs comes a terrifying gift, clarity. You begin to see who's truly on your side, who's only there for the benefits, who celebrated you for as long as they could. You remain by their side, the ones who cared for your pain, but now hate your recovery. You see the selfish, the emotionally manipulative, the silent naysayers, the ones who betrayed you with their words, but hurt you more with their silence. But you don't hate them. In fact, you thank them because clarity doesn't come to punish but to purify. It muffles the background noise, exposes the expired soul contracts, and shows you what you can't take with you into the next level. While it may be painful, it isn't cruel. Rather, it is the highest kind of mercy, because once vision is formed when you can see clearly, when you can finally stop pouring into something that was never meant to hold you. It's not a want, a dream, or a fantasy for someday. It's a knowing, a divine conviction, a fire that shouts, "This is who I am. This is my intended destination." Additionally, I will never longer walk with somebody who depletes me. Without vision, there can be no approval. It doesn't scream out for comprehension. It is in motion. The momentum increases. It will stop at nothing to preserve its vigor. The fog is lifted by vision. It rejects diversion. Yes, it confirms. It is able to discern flattery. Even if it's dressed in love, it can still detect trickery. Above all else, it captures your true self, not the one others put up with. However, before you learn to shrink, you were supposed to be someone else entirely. Very well done. Reason being, you need to safeguard your destination now that you know where it is. That is the point. Nothing about it suggests a work description, a personal endeavor, or an overarching goal. Your soul's purpose is the force that holds it up. The fire is the one that keeps you awake at night. Whenever you attempt to calm down, that unnerving murmur continues becoming louder. Finding purpose is difficult. You know what I mean? It was the first thing that got your blood pumping before you learned to be efficient in this world. It was the source of your vitality before fame and fortune became masks. When all the outside factors are removed, this is what is left. Everything that is out of place becomes unpleasant the moment you recall. Any energy that doesn't seem right is no longer tolerated. People who deplete you no longer get your yes. Now that you've overcome your fear of being understood, there is no room for casual energy in matters of spiritual intent. People who are still avoiding their own purpose find your purpose terrifying, thus not everyone around you is on board with it. You have to be fine with that, too. Free them up. Permit them to mess up. Go ahead and join the gossip groups. You've outgrown them. Simply put, the road you're currently on calls for a new you, and someone who is unafraid to be misunderstood as long as they speak the truth. It takes self-control to stay there, the kind that remains constant regardless of one's emotional state. Those that fail to patiently await the optimal energy, the type that moves in response to a soul's command to do so. You can't grow spiritually without discipline. Keeps you from falling over. The little things are when life tries to force you back into a mold that doesn't fit. Rise and shine before the sun comes up, observing no one. Leaving a controversial situation when nobody else is going to. Preserving your thoughts as sacred as your very being. The only way for purpose to triumph over distraction and stay true to its mission is via self-discipline. The war goes on indefinitely. Well, you simply get strength. You must abandon the futile pursuit of an opportune moment. You achieve harmony. The world is no longer asked to honor your journey. They are compelled to step aside because of how forcefully and accurately you walk it. Afterwards, you must take action. The evidence you need every day to prove you're doing more than talking. Instead of acting quickly, you're not in sync. Instead of trying to impress, you should just proclaim. You must conform to your fate by making choices that rock the foundations of your familiar world, no matter how much discomfort they cause. Reason being, doing something separates people. Here the dreamers either thrive or perish, and the inspired are shown to be builders. Your plans aren't a debt to anyone. The vision is dependent on your implementation. The life you lead is real. It's an original work of art. What you let in, what you cultivate, and what you construct will reveal your true nature. Make it obvious. You will experience everything as you do, construct, and become. Feelings of terror, loss, isolation, joy, treachery, vanity, and yearning. Embrace it everything. Soak it all up. Move through it, but refrain from following it. Integrating one's emotions rather than repressing them is emotional mastery. Putting up an act is not going to cut it. It's making a decision even when you don't feel like it. It isn't denying feelings. Encircling them with affection is it, while retaining control of your own fate. Feelings are valid, but you shouldn't give up because of them. You should not take your emotions at face value. The fact that a storm swept through your chest shouldn't make you shrink. No one is more than their wounds. It is you. They're the ones who persevere through them all. Resilience is shown when things get tough in the past, because they always will. None of that Instagram resilience, phony version, or stay strong garbage. I'm referring to true resilience here. The kind that trembles slightly but remains intact. That which weeps and then stands up again. The kind that keeps going even when things get tough. It is constructed in the stillness of solitude. In those times when you feel like giving up, choose to be present instead. This hurts, but I'm resilient. Even though this is heavy, I am still here. Even if it didn't go the way I wanted, I didn't come this far to repeat old patterns. Resilience is being able to recall who you are when faced with challenges that try to make you forget. It's when you refuse to be defined by the changing of the seasons. Without harboring any resentment, you must recover from the betrayal. When you can take a setback and use it to your advantage, at last, you get to the bottom of things. Nobody ever told you. You always had company. You were constantly evolving. You were never left behind by the cosmos. That was molding you into an individual who is impervious to closeness, commotion, adulation, and imposter pals in close quarters. For the simple reason that you now know that not everyone in your immediate vicinity support you. And that's all right. Not everyone can accompany a truth seeker on their journey. A person's refusal to put on a show for it makes it hard for others to love them. When someone stops going along with the flow, not everyone can keep up. Being partially loved, partially seen, and partially heard is no longer an option for you. You have been demoted yourself to the power that begs you to shrink and remain. And that is where it all starts. You can get along without everyone. Completely chosen, fully seen, and completely free is all that is required.